All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Market Open. Here we go. Let me make sure the audio is good. Okay. It is March 3rd, 2023, 9:21 a.m. And it is a Friday. So we've got the market opening today. We've got the market actually in an interesting position. Happy Anderson, Jonah, what's up? Cameron, what's up? Vincent, how do you find your clothes in the fastest way possible, Matt? I can see what I want to wear if it is. Honestly, that's a good question. I don't know. I kind of just wake up and I just pick something. I try to wear the same stuff more often than not. Like there's the same 5-6 shirts that I wear. But I do have a decent amount of clothes. So a lot of this stuff should be donated because this stuff probably doesn't even fit me anymore. But it's kind of stuck in the closet. So it's there. Uriel, what's up? Drew, what's up? ER Pro, what's up? What's up? John Stevens, Iceman, JJ, Martin, UCUS. Hello. It is Friday. And as a result, we've got a market to open. Now, it looks like we have a little bit of a nice green market as we are getting into this. Quarantine Quartet, hello. Jason Reynolds, head up. What's up? Let me pull up Weeble. Sonam, good morning. Friday. Yes, definitely Friday. All right. So, the market's up pre-market. Some of these earnings actually did really well. C3AI, which didn't have the best earnings, but its stock is up really nicely. Salesforce had pretty good earnings. Duolingo had great earnings. If we go to the indexes, they're up pretty nicely. S&P pre-market up 399. Basically, touched 4 already. NASDAQ. Where do we have NASDAQ? NASDAQ also is up pretty nicely in the pre-market. 11,462 at the moment. Tesla up in the pre-market, 194. This was struggling at 186 yesterday. Obviously, Tesla had collapsed a bit from this investor day stuff. But stocks in general are up a little bit pre-market. It's going to be interesting to see if they open red or if they continue to maintain some momentum. Palantir up 1.13% at 806. It closed at 798 yesterday. Given it is a Friday, likely going to be some little bit of a sell-off, right? But on top of that, I guess the market's just they're like, nope, we want to have a little bit of green, so we're getting a little bit of green. So we got Tesla at 194, Rocket Labs up 0.094%, and Snowflake also up 0.05% after Snowflake was down. Amit, you guys on tonight or no need to be on tonight? No, we'll be on tonight. We'll have Palantir Weekly on my channel. We'll have SoFi Weekly and then Palantir Weekly. So we'll be here. There's a lot of stuff to talk about Palantir this week, so we'll discuss. Good morning, Amit. Greetings from Munich, Germany. The sun is finally out here. Jose, thank you so much for being here from Germany. Good morning to you. Happy the sun is out for you as well. Bitcoin. So, I mean, this was the Bitcoin thing was very interesting. I think it's about liquidations. I don't think it has anything to do with China or anything like that. Pretty nasty crash going down to 22,370. I mean, you see that candle right there. I did late night stock talks last night. We saw this happen kind of live when it just collapsed. I really don't know the reasoning for this, but almost every cryptocurrency was down 5% last night, not just Bitcoin. Now being down 4.7%. So a lot of it is probably related to this liquidation that's happening. The question is just who's getting liquidated, why are they getting liquidated, and what's the reasoning behind it. Ahad, what's up? Silvergate. Yes, that might also be a reasoning. 5% in crypto isn't that much. That's true. It's if you're a crypto bull, you're used to that. SPY Max Pain today is 397. Well, I guess we will see. I mean, look, the SPY got the problem is the collapse in the S&P has not happened yet. The collapse in the market has not, this collapse to 3,200, 3,400 that everyone's been calling, or at least that, a lot of Wall Street has been calling for, just hasn't happened yet. We've been stuck between 390 and 420 and teetering. You would think there has to be some massive catalyst that leads to 10% days down every single day for it to get down to that 3,400 mark, right? Like, basically, if we go to the 1 year, when we got to 346, we were at 420, right? So this was 420 on August 12th, 2022, and you have 346 October 13th, 2022. So in the matter of 2 months, really, We went from 428 down to 410, down to 390. Then we went back up to 400. Then we went right down to 360. That 400 to 360, that 914 down to 929 in 2 weeks. The S&P crashed 10%. And then it bottomed at 346. So, I mean, we're looking for that type of a decline. And we just haven't had that since then. Then we got to 374, got up to 418, and now we're down to 397. So until we get that type of a crash that you're seeing from 914 to 929, it's going to be a little bit harder for the S&P to get to some of those levels that the street is expecting it to get to. I would love for it to get to 3,200. I mean, that would be a great. I mean, stocks would be on sale, like on sale. But we'd have to see. Feeling lazy today, Mick. Can you log onto my channel and do my portfolio update real quick while I take a nap? Did you just wake up, TJ? How are you taking a nap already? Amit, do you sell any covered calls with any of your pound shares? I have not. Honestly, I've just been buying more. Probably should look into some of the premiums and the cash secured puts, but have not been selling any covered calls yet. Can you ask Kathy to buying so much DNA? She's taking all my shares. Glitch, how many DNA shares do you have now? Kathy, we talked about this last night. Kathy bought another 2.4 million of Ginkgo. I bought 800 shares yesterday. Again, don't follow me into this. I've researched the company pretty deeply, and at $1.30, which is what I bought them, I thought it was decently de-risked, but it's not a heavy position for me. It's just something where I was like, can I see them getting back to $2.50? Yeah. From $1.30, I think that's going to happen. So that's why I like it. And, I don't make a lot of videos on them, but I did spend about a month researching them very in depth. I listened to like every single, like when I mean I binged research these guys, I binge researched these guys. Like I listened to everything, all their investor calls, all their presentations. The problem is it's still a biotech, so it's still risky, even though it's not a conventional biotech. But I sold out in July or in September because I know the macro was not going to be friendly to it. It's just not going to be friendly. So you got to give it a little bit of time to get out of it. But I do like the company a lot. The other biotech I have is up 2% at 230. Purple biotech, the one I never talk about, the one that's hopefully going to get bought out by Bristol Myers Squibb because they're developing a molecule called NT219. It's an interesting one. It's a very, very interesting one. We will see if anything happens with them. But that one I've been in for like 3 years, so I'm probably going to be waiting another 3 years. 36,000 shares or dollars? I'd imagine, is it dollars or shares? 36,000 shares would be. Oh wait, no, that's actually reasonable because the stock is only like $1.30. So yeah, I can imagine you have 36,000 shares. That's a lot of shares, though, bro. It's a lot of shares. How much do you sleep? Look, I get some sleep. Okay, that's all that matters. I get some sleep. I'm trying to sleep a little bit less, to be honest. Just because I think it'll maximize a little bit more productivity. But I think I get my 5 to 6 hours. I'm never, sleep. I mean, I am sleep deprived at sometimes, but never like that badly. I'm only putting funds in the market I can afford to lose for a few years now. Not emotionally involved, not foaming in or out. At this point, I'm moving profits in index season stocks. Yeah, look, it makes sense. The market's unpredictable. You got to be a little bit. You gotta be a little conservative on that. Shares, okay, so you have 36,000 shares. I slept from 2:15 to 6:45 a.m. Okay, makes sense. 6 to 7 hours. I think I fell asleep around 2 o'clock as well, to be honest. Ginkgo's an interesting company, but a day late and $1 short. Lingering recession is going to kill it. Sobbing my 5K in it. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a world where if we have a really bad recession, Ginkgo goes to like 50 cents. I also think there's enough institutional support where they wouldn't let that happen. But we'll see. All right, March 3rd, 2023, last Friday or last day of the week. It's Friday. Hope everyone has a great day. 9:30 a.m. The stock market is open. Wake your ass up. The stock market is open. NASDAQ up 11,522, up 0.452%. Bitcoin down 4.63%, down 1,500 points. S&P 399 up 0.38%. Duolingo down 5%. So giving up a little bit of those earnings gains. I mean, the earnings were good, but it's giving up a little bit of those gains as a result of that. This was the earnings pop. Yeah, right here. This was the earnings pop from like 87 to 120-ish. Around that range. So it's giving up just a little bit of it. C3AI continuing to rally up 19% because they said the word AI 60 times in their earnings call, and Wall Street Bet loves it. Salesforce up 1.23%. Ginkgo down 0.71%, relatively flat. Enphase 212. Tesla 194 up 1.63%. Rocket Labs up 0.12%. 4.2. Snowflake up 1.87% at 137. Snowflake stock-based compensation, I'm going to show you guys a chart in a little bit, is absolutely ridiculous. No one can complain about Palantir stock-based compensation if you're looking at Snowflake. Like, it's just, and you're like, oh, they're growing more. It's like BS. You cannot use that much SBC to dilute shareholders to grow. Like, that's just, it's just, you should have a product at that point that's able to actually grow by itself. Doesn't seem like they have that. It seems like they're spending on salespeople. SOX 2165. That means semis are down if SOX is up. Zoom 69. Again, cannot believe this is the third largest holding in Kathy's portfolio. This company is growing 4% year over year. It's just not exciting. They put up $1 billion in revenue. That's great. But I mean, where's the growth here? Baba at $90, up 0.68%. Google 92, up a little bit. I think Google, Amazon, and Meta are going to be very, very interesting over the next decade, especially given what we are seeing management to. I think Meta's already engaged in another round of layoffs. Google, I read an article, actually picked up some more search engine market share last month over Bing, just because I think people are more interested in search. This whole narrative that Bing was going to kill Google, it's not playing out, and I at least not yet. I don't see it happening yet. Trade Dex 56.35, Arc Innovation 39.3, Spotify 120, up 1.78%, Snapchat 1027, up 1.2% as well. ARC did add more DNA yesterday. Yes, they did. Selling DNA puts at $1 strike pays 20% of sharing, gets you a cost base of 80 cents. That's 90 price to book. I wrote 200. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I mean, you're buying, getting into DNA via cash secured puts is definitely not a bad idea, especially because I do believe they can fall under $1. Like 100% I do if it gets really bad in the market. So we will see. My time in the military really jacked up my sleep patterns. I actually slept 8 straight hours last week and was considering if my wife poisoned me. Yeah, sleep is such an interesting thing. You know, it's one of those things where it's so individually unique to each person that does their own version of sleeping. It's a different way for people to approach it. All right, let's look at some other stuff right here. Let's get into the media. One sec. Okay, so we're gonna look into this thing right here. The Fed has no choice but to engineer a hard landing. So let's hear a little bit more of a bearish take here for why we need to have a hard landing. Okay, let me stop sharing this. I hate using anything but Google. I use Google to use. Yeah, I mean, look, Google has power users. It's gonna be hard to not use Google. Yo, why does my mouse keep randomly freezing? Okay, here we go. Boom.
Joining us right now is Priya Misra, who is Global Head of Rate Strategy at TD. And Priya, this has been the question people have been trying to figure out all year, even longer than that. Where are rates headed? You got to know what the Fed is doing next. And there have been some pretty conflicting signals on that front. Where do you think we're headed?
So I think the big macro question is the data strong because the Fed is not restrictive enough, or the lags have just not worked through? We're very much in the lags, view. I think if you look at interest rates, they became restrictive, I would argue, in December last year. I mean, we're 2 months out. It takes a while, 12 to 18 months for the lags to kick in. I would argue that that Fed policy is restrictive already, and the Fed's going to continue to hike. They might stop somewhere between 5.25, 5.75. Maybe they have to go a little bit higher, I think, essentially in 25 basis point increments. I think what the market's done is looked at the strong data and extrapolated it, and essentially, assume that we're going to have no landing, soft landing. I would argue the long end is very attractive, because the only way to get inflation down to 2% is for the unemployment rate to go, I think, close to 5%. I think the Fed has no choice but to engineer a hard landing. So these long end treasuries, 5s, 10s, I think they're very attractive, because you've got to position for that eventual slowdown. So we're long 10s here. I would just stay away from that very front end, because the data is still strong, and I think the Fed is going to feel that pressure to continue to hike.
So if you think a hard landing is coming, when do you think that happens, and how quickly do you think the Fed pivots? I mean, you'd be in the camp of people who have been saying rates shouldn't keep pushing up from here because the Fed's going to have do an about face.
Right. So I think, this pivot is going to depend not just on growth, it's going to depend on inflation. Our view is that inflation is going to be sticky. So I think they can stop hiking somewhere in the fall. I think to actually turn around and start to cut, we're actually thinking that's only happening next year. They're going to want to see inflation getting close to at least have a two handle. 2.8, 2.9, we're pretty far from that. So they may not pivot. And I think the market's going to get really nervous because we're going to see potentially negative job growth numbers. So to your point on when that happens, we're thinking third quarter, fourth quarter, and really what's keeping the consumer going is this accumulated savings. The savings are coming down, but at some point those savings run out. In our view,
it's really interesting. I mean, their perspective is eventually there's going to be negative job growth quarter over quarter. Right now, we expected 197,000 jobs last quarter. We got 500,000. So job growth has actually been, I mean, this is like the best time in America, at least, to get a job. Like employers are offering them and wages are great, which is bad for inflation because, as the harsh reality is if more people have jobs, they have money to spend and they're able to inflate the economy, right? So their next argument is, well, if that job growth is going to eventually come down, I bought if you were in late night stock talks, you know what he's talking about. If job growth is coming down, then eventually consumer savings is also going to decline, right? And right now, the argument is that consumer savings are allowing the consumer, even with lower wages, to be able to sustain themselves in this economy. When savings comes down, job growth comes down, and credit card debt goes up, and interest rates are still high, that's when you've got a bit of a formula for, oh crap, not only are people not going to be buying stocks, they're not going to be buying a whole lot of stuff. And that should lead to a macro decline in the economy writ large. We haven't really had that, we haven't really had that at scale. We haven't had that to the point where people are just not spending. And obviously because, $7 trillion of liquidity and all that stimulus money still has its effects, but it just hasn't happened. My teen son got an entry job at $15 for Walmart. Bonkers. Yeah, that's that's amazing, right? $15 an hour just to work at Walmart. So and it's because it's competitive. They can't afford to pay him less than that. What do you think about the official inverse Kramer ETF? Can someone tell me the ticker symbol for that? I actually want to check it out. I would like to see that. I forgot the ticker symbol, but it's interesting. They're literally tracking his whatever he says is good or bad. I can't believe that's an actual ETF. Like that's it's hilarious. I guess we will see if it is able to perform the way he says. Beer sales are slowing down. Yeah, I mean, look, if I think we would have to see in a lot of the consumer reports coming out, consumer demand going down, which that is coming down a little bit, just not enough for it to trigger a massive recession. But it's so interesting because in 2022, I remember reading Kathy's thesis on this for inflation being transitory. And she cited a lot of these same kind of statistics in the opposite direction to prove her argument. And now it's like, obviously she was wrong on inflation. So the question just becomes how long is it going to be? Remember, she said deflation is coming within 6 months in September. It's March. I remember I made a video in September where Kathy would said in the next 6 months, we will see deflation. It's March, bro. There is no deflation. SJIM. All right. I'm going to pull that up. SJIM. If this mouse could ever stop lagging on me, I would love to pull that up. All right, here it is. SJIM. Down 0.37%. So what's in this index? Hold on, let me see on Robinhood. I think on Robinhood they'll have what's in this index. Because Robinhood has a breakdown of everything. SJIM. Inverse Kramer Tracker ETF. Okay, let's see this. What's in here? Do you know what's in here? SJM is an actively managed narrow portfolio of global companies inversely invested on the recommendations of television personality Jim Cramer. The fund holds short stocks and ETFs and of any capitalization at Cramer's direction. This is hilarious, bro. This is like a typical stock you would expect Wall Street to or Wall Street bets to kind of blow up or anything. Okay, we can't see the actual things they hold in there, but yeah, that's interesting. I've seen something about Chinese PPI going up, and that was supposed to be bullish. I must admit, I don't know how that works. Well, PPI in general is producer price index, right? So if that's going up, that's not necessarily good. because that means producers are paying more to produce things, which means consumers have to pay more to produce things. I think it's actually worse in China because we get all of our crap from China. Like this Rubik's Cube is from China. This cowbell is also probably from China. So if Chinese producers are paying more, obviously people who are buying from them are going to have to pay more. So I don't know logically how that's necessarily bullish news. But I mean, maybe there's something else to that as well. Markets green. Guess the pure authorized depth investments are in today. Let's hope we close green. I actually, again, guys, I want it to be a bit more red. I mean, there's no need for us to have a ton of green right now. It'd be nice to accumulate some stuff. All right, let's listen to someone who's more bullish that inflation has indeed peaked. All right, let's look at this. This is the Atlas Merchant CEO for why inflation has peaked. Jennifer in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Jennifer, good morning. Good morning to you. One sec. Okay, here we go.
On the markets and the financial sector, I want to bring in Bob Diamond, CEO of Atlas Merchant Capital, former CEO of Barclays, and our guru on all things Fed and finance these days. What would you do?
I think the Fed, listen, they waited too long. We know that. So we had raging inflation a year ago. I mean, I think it's about a year ago they began the rate rises, and it's now 4.5 to 4.75% in a year. And I think the Fed is reasonably pleased. My sense is we have, maybe 25 to 75 basis points to go, somewhere in that area, and then they'll pause and keep an eye on it. And I think inflation has peaked. It's definitely started to turn.
But turn to what, turn to what, 5%, to 3%, to 2%, getting to 2%, is it going to be a project?
I don't think, if the Fed sees inflation in the 3 to 3.5% range, Andrew, I think they'll be cautious. They're not going to slam the brakes and say it has to get under 2%. So, I think we've seen the worst in terms of, the economic correction. I think 2023 is still going to be very challenging. The economy hasn't totally adjusted to 4.5%, 5% interest rates. But I do think that this is, the economy is still growing. And
the real economy of the markets, because you could say that the stock market is looking out, hopefully 12, 18 months from now.
Yeah,
I can make an argument about that. Today, though, you talk to people in the shipping business even. They say, look, there's not nearly as many boxes coming off
any of the rate sensitive.
You know what I'm saying?
we wanted the economy to slow down. We needed to get interest rates up. I mean, was it a normal world for 14 years of zero interest rates? I mean, that was in essence, to feed the monster here. It was the public sector excess of zero interest rates for 14 years creates bad decisions. Right. And it also is a stimulus that we have to pay back for.
It's been really bad to get you to that point to say that. Wow, unbelievable.
But this is much more normal. You have a 10-year at 4%. There was 10 years leading up into COVID where it was between 1.5 and 3. A dip below 1.5 during the worst of COVID. But I think a more normalized interest rate environment, a little bit of volatility, a steeper curve. These things are all very, very positive for the economy in the medium to long term. Obviously, it's an adjustment right now.
But Bob, every risk manager I know, they're not saying it's certainly happening, that we're going into some tailspin or some big downturn. But every risk manager I know who's lived through a lot of these things is taking precautions at this point. You've got Steve Schwarzman telling his companies to be your own bank. Don't need money for the next 18 to 24 months. Yeah. For 6 months, we've been hearing this from Jamie Dimon and other folks.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, but we don't know if it's likely to happen, but the odds are higher than that.
I mean, my sense is, the most recent one I lived through is post the financial crisis in 2009. It was like really deep, really dark, and fairly short, as it turned out. I don't think this is going to be deep and dark. I think we're seeing an economic correction. It's going to continue. One of the things we do like at Atlas Merchant Capital is the distressed business, which we started about 3 years ago. There's going to be some great opportunities in corporate stress because of bad decisions that were made, in such a long period of zero interest rates. But looking at the economy, I think this is going to be longer in terms of a correction, but much more mild than I think what with the
Right.
worst we're
Would you rather have
anticipating.
zero? I mean,
AKA, no one knows what the hell is going to happen. But I mean, the guy's analysis is actually not that bad. He's trying to make a case for just how the Fed is going to react, especially if we don't get to 2%, right? NASDAQ up 0.82%. If we get to like 3 or 4%, he thinks that the Fed is going to start pausing or start cutting at that point, because it doesn't need to literally be 2. It just needs to be in that positive momentum and direction. The question just is when that happens. And I mean, he's obviously right about inflation peaking at 9%. I mean, I don't think we would go above that again. If we do, this is going to get really bloody. Really, that's when you want companies that have no debt, aka Palantir, right? If we get to 9% inflation, Palantir up 3.5% on the day. But if we have peak, then it's just a question of how quickly we can come down. S&P at 400, and again, it's hard for us to come down quickly if we've already come down from 9 to 6, because now from 6 to 3, it's just going to be a lot harder to get there. Nerd Wallet at $21. This is, again, a financial blog. They have a market cap of $1.64 billion. Why are they up so much? I don't know. Hold on. Let me go to the 1 year. Where were they at? They were at $8. Why are they up 3x? See why? This is the ridiculous stuff in the market. It was $8 in January. It's at $21 right now. It is a blog. It is a blog. Literally, it is a blog. Nerds Wallets is a blog. They don't make any money other than traffic to their website. And at 3x, and that's $1 billion company. So this is the type of stuff where you're like, all right, we haven't really had the bottom, because this just doesn't make any sense. Even if they had phenomenal earnings, does it justify a 300% gain in less than 2 months? I don't know. I don't think so. Meta at 179, Unity at 30, Pinterest at 2540, Google 93, inching up, Uber 34, Robinhood 976, Apple 148. Yeah, market's relatively green or flat today. Nothing too crazy. Not going too well. I can see Nerd Wallet being bought out. Me too. I just don't know if it would be for $1 billion. Someone would have to pay a premium now on this market cap if you were buying it at this price. So, what, $2 billion, $1.5 billion? Where is what's it worth? Something tells me the faster we drop inflation, the faster it rises back up and get to 4,800 highs. Might be 25, 26. Yeah, 4,800 on the S&P might be a 2025 phenomena as interest rates finally fall, to close to 1 to 2% from 5% where they are right now. So we'd have to see. 3 voting Fed members speak today. I bet you they are hawkish. I bet you the media doesn't report it. I mean, bro, even if they are hawkish, it'll be interesting. I don't think they're going to affect the markets today. Not necessarily that badly. Look, Gabe, I think we have a long way to go to get to that 3,600 you're hoping for on the S&P. We just, we got to have a catalyst that's really going to cause this thing to crash. And I don't see it, which is why I'm not short. As bad as inflation came in with the PCE, I think it's not going to be that bad to drop us to 3,600 or 3,400 or whatever. I don't know if we hit new lows on this. Now, granted, things need to start happening for us to see some really, really bad days. It's just we always rebound right back to the 390s, the 400s, and maybe that's the storm before it finally collapses. But I don't know. All these companies also have been giving phenomenal earnings. Every one of these companies have just had amazing earnings. Maybe guidance has been a little bit low, but outside of that, earnings have been great. So I think the next earnings cycle, it'll be really interesting to see, what are Amazon and Google showing up with? Is Google search business actually declining? Or is AWS spend actually declining? Is advertising on Facebook declining? Can Palantir actually put up $507 million in revenue that they said they were going to do? Because earnings, I think, justifies a lot of where the market's going to go after that. Next, FOMC is a major data mitt. It's not a long way to go. No, I know that. I'm just I think going down to 3,600 has a long way to go, because we need some major catalyst to drop the market down that badly. The FOMC, I don't think is going to be the thing that does it. But Amit, I'm going on vacation. You want anything? I want a lot of things in life, but unfortunately, I will have to work on those to get those myself. But I appreciate you, Kane. Thank you for being here. 3,600 happened. You missed it. Yeah, it did happen. 3,400 also happened, and it's not here anymore. So I don't know. I don't know if it's coming back. SoFi 672 up 4%, Palantir 830 up 4%. Yeah, we've got some nice little gains today. And see, like for the S&P to go to 3,400, I think Palantir would have to drop massively, right? Or at least Palantir would have to drop below 6. If we get to 3,400, like all stocks would be, SoFi would be back at the $4 range. Microsoft would be at what, 220 this year? What was the low on it? Microsoft was 212 at one point on November 2022. October, November was when we had a pretty, bad market. We got October 13th was like the worst. And then we went up from there. We did not sustain that momentum staying down there. So I just don't know if we get to that point again. Yesterday, Bostic, a non-voting member, was dovish and the media was sure to blast it out. If a smart individual like yourself doesn't see the BS going on, then I have no hope for humanity. Look, Gabe, I don't know if the market's going to crash like you say it's going to crash. I just don't know. I hope it does for you, and I hope it does for me because I'll have some more things to buy. I just don't know why we would go back down to 346. I don't know. It's not it already happened. And it happened multiple times, by the way. It happened in June. Where do we get in June? With June, we got to 360. So we got not an all-time new low, but we got a big low, right? From 478 to 360, right? That 472 decline to 360. Then we rallied all the way back up, 428. And then we came crashing right back down to we had two bottoms within 4 months of each other. Those were massive opportunities for people to buy the dip. And basically now you're saying it's time for us to get an even worse bottom than that. It might happen. I don't know why, given inflation has come down since then. Earnings have only gone up since then. I mean, earnings have been great. Really, relatively, earnings have been phenomenal for all of these companies. I mean, very few companies have had just horrible earnings. Almost every company has had a pretty solid set of earnings. And yes, interest rates are remained up, but inflation is still coming down. I think over the next 2 months, we would have to see inflation get down from 6.4 to 5%. And I think earnings would have to still justify that it's worth spending. And if that's the case, then I don't think we just crash. I really don't. Well, we will see. When everyone is expecting something to happen, it never happens. That's also true. That generally tends to happen. Earnings are great because the estimates are bagged. I mean, that's also fair. Now, granted, guidance has come in lower. So now they would have to, if they're going to beat expectations, they're going to have to beat their lower guidances as well. Max Payne is coming. It is coming before July is my worry. Well, Gabe, I hope you're right on this shit because I'm ready to buy. I would absolutely love to buy at lower price. I do not want to buy now. So I hope you're right on this. I guess we'll just see. You said Nike. Let's go into Nike. I think I traded Nike once back in 2020. Nike's at what? $185 billion market cap. Price to book of 12. Price to sales of 3.8. The thing about Nike that I guess at the end of the day, they are a hardware brand, right? Or hardware meaning they have to, physically sell stuff, shoes, things of that nature. They don't have that much technology in them that is monetizable. Nike has a lot of great consumer health technology. That's really interesting stuff that they do. But it's not like a SaaS subscription, you pay $5 a month, anything like that. I think if Nike just figured out a way to integrate a subscription model into their app for consumers, they already have the brand awareness. They already have massive levels of marketing, right? People know what Nike is. And you could pay $5 a month and you could get some type of insight into your health or anything like that. That would be a great little consumer business. But they've never really done anything that's like that at scale. They continue to make their money off clothes and stuff like that, and sponsorships and all that stuff. So I don't know. Nike's just never interested in me. I've never been never get excited with all this interesting stocks in the market. Nike is one of those that's never been unique to me. If you're a sneakerhead, yes, this app is incredibly important when it comes to sneakers. Nike is probably top 5 most trusted brand. I agree. Also, they definitely have a China risk. I mean, we don't hear enough about them, but China is absolutely, a a risk for Nike given all their stuff is made there. Only 33 homies finger banged the like button. Yes, please, guys. I need everyone here to Will Smith the like button. That's what I need you guys to do. I need you guys to Will Smith the like button. That's it. Big movie coming out for Nike with Matt Damon's Air about the Air. Yeah, this was a great trailer I saw as well. It's going to be an exciting movie. That's a movie I actually want to go into theaters and see. That was a good one. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that's it. All right, guys. I think that's it for me. Please check out the description. Last day I'll be promoting this. There is a $250 off code if you use my code AdmitIsLegit to Angel University. It's a one-day seminar with Jason Calacanis where he teaches you to be an angel investor. I'm not getting paid for this, no affiliate deal. They just asked if I would be nice enough to shout out to my audience because they want to get more people into the angel investing world. Full 4-hour seminar with him, $50, and they donate all the money, so they don't even make money off of this. You can use my code AdmitIsLegit, $250 to get off on that ticket. And it's on March 8th, where you get to like literally sit and learn from Jason Calacanis on how to be an angel investor. All right, that's it for me. We'll have SoFi Weekly, Palantir Weekly tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's March 3rd, 2023. We got through the week. We'll be back next week. We'll have SoFi and Palantir Weekly on tonight. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see how the market turns out. Relatively green right now. Not too bad. Obviously, you have a lot of catalysts coming up over the next couple of weeks with the Fed and different earnings coming out. So we'll keep going from there. But that's it for me. Make sure you check out my most recent video about Palantir and how they need to debate. We have a big debate coming out March 15th as well. So hopefully we'll be able to live stream that and see everything that's happening as well. Thanks, Amit. Tear it up today. Ibot, thank you. Great stream, Gabe. Awesome. Jennifer, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend. Have a great day. All right, everybody. That's it for me. When are you announcing something new for Aldia? That I'll have my investor update come out pretty soon in the next day or two. But in terms of publicly, we're still trying to figure that out because there's a couple of announcements. So we're trying to figure out like how to kind of frame them. But you guys will get an update on that soon. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you later tonight. SoFi and Palantir Weekly. Bye-bye.